watching The Breakdown with the fight analyst, Garrett Kerman.
What's up, everyone? I am the fight analyst, Garrett Kerman, and this is The Breakdown. This show is to break down every single UFC fight card from a betting perspective to make you all a ton of money. But before we get into the breakdown, I got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Manscaped. Guys, head over to manscaped.com to get the best male grooming products on the market. This stuff is a life changer. It doesn't nick that junk of yours when you're getting it all nice and smooth for your lady friend. So guys, head over to manscaped.com. Use promo code TFTA20 for 20% off your order plus free shipping. Last week, we had a phenomenal fight card, the first fight card of the year, especially on the main event when Max Holloway and Calvin Kattar. Wow, what a fight. Max Holloway put on a spectacular performance, one for the ages, one that will go down in the record books. It was just absolute phenomenal. And we get back on track this Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's going to be a super early fight start time. It's going to be a phenomenal one. I think it's going to be another great fight card. Tons of fights on tap. But let's get right down to it. Also, guys, we have a special guest coming on the fight on this breakdown with us to break down this card later in this show. So stay tuned throughout the entire show to get that interview and get some of his insight to help you guys make some money. So let's start off on the prelims. The first fight on the card is in the bantamweight division between actually, it's in the flyweight division, between Victoria Leonardo and Manon Fiorot. Sorry about that, guys. Hard to pronounce some names over here. Right now, Fiorot is a minus 185 favorites, and the comeback on Leonardo is a plus 160 underdog. All right, so Leonardo, she coming off the the Contender Series fight where she looked phenomenal against Chelsea Hackett. But then again, Hackett was only a 3-0 MMA fighter. She was a really good Muay Thai striker. She's been in Muay Thai for most of her life. Victoria did the right thing. She took the Muay Thai striker down and pretty much dominated her for the entirety of that fight and beat her to a pulp on the mat. Hackett didn't know how to defend takedowns, and that was pretty much all she wrote. Leonardo is a veteran in the sport. She's been around for a while. She's fought some good names on the regional scene. She's lost to some good names on the regional scene as well. But in this fight, she goes against Fiorot, who's the EFC and UAE Warriors flyweight champion over there. She's 5-1. She's taking this fight on probably like 2-3 weeks notice, but I think she's a powerhouse and she's a really good prospect. The reason why she's a minus 185 favorite on short notice. So that kind of says a lot to her prospect, in this sport. She's very strong. She's got really good stand-up. She's got good hips to keep the fight off the mat, and she's got really good hip throws. She's bigger than Leonardo as well. She's stronger than Leonardo. I think she pretty much wins this fight anywhere this fight takes place. We've seen Leonardo take a ton of damage on the feet. Even in that Hackett fight, she really couldn't stand with her, which is why she took her to the mat. So yeah, I'm pretty confident in Fiorot winning her UFC debut. This is a very winnable fight for her. All she has to do is just be able to, stand her ground and defend takedowns, and she'd be able to do whatever she wants on the feet. So I'm very, very confident in Fiorot taking this win on short notice and getting the W and really putting a stamp on her name in the flyweight division. All right, next up, we have a fight in the bantamweight division between Umar Nurmagomedov and Sergey Mazarov. Sorry about that. Right now, Nurmagomedov is a minus 500 favorite, and the comeback on Mazarov is a plus 400 underdog. All right, so for what we've seen in Nurmagomedov, obviously he's He's in the bloodline of Khabib, so you know what you're getting from him. Good grappler and decent striker. He's shown that in his time here so far. I feel like they're giving him another easy win here to kind of build him up, like they do for most of their prized prospects. Minus 500 is a crazy line, but I think it's kind of warranted. Morozov, he's fought some decent competition on the regional scene, but I mean, like I said, there's always levels to this, and I don't think Morozov is the level of Nurmagomedov here. Nurmagomedov, I think he's probably going to win the decision, clear-cut, unanimous decision, and get another win under his cap. Obviously, minus 500 is not a great line to bet on. I would probably steer clear of betting it. Maybe take him by decision prop when that does come later on in the coming days. That could give you some good value there. But yeah, I'm taking Nurmagomedov here, and he should probably win comfortably. All right, next up in the lightweight division, we have a fight between Mike Davis and Mason Jones. This is arguably one of my favorite fights on the card because Mike Davis puts on fights like no other, and Mason Jones is an absolute stud coming into his UFC debut. He's an absolute monster. So right now, Davis is a minus 175 favorite, and the comeback on Mason Jones is the plus 155 underdog. So Mason Jones is coming in as a Cage Warriors double champ. He was a lightweight champion as well as a welterweight champion. He's not overly big for the lightweight division. He's 5'10". Mike Davis is actually bigger at 6 foot. He should have the reach advantage. He should have the strength advantage because he's absolutely yoked. I don't even know how Davis even was able to make 145, but he did. But yeah, this is going to be an absolute delight for everybody because both these guys want to stand there and trade and throw down. What Jones is going to really want to do is kind of make it gritty and get in and try to make this a grappling match a little bit as well. He's shown that he does have some grappling chops on the regional scene in Cage Warriors, but I think all in all, he's going to want to stand there and box with Davis, which I don't think is a really good recipe for success. We've seen time and time again, especially in that Gifford fight where he beat Gifford to a bloody pulp. Davis is an absolute powerhouse. And then, mind you, that was up at 155. He even gave fits to Gilbert Burns on the feet. He gave fits to Sadiq Youssef on the feet. And I don't see that Mason Jones is on the level of those two fighters. So I don't think that Mason Jones is going to be able to come in here and outstrike Mike Davis. Mike Davis has been chopping at the bit to finally get back into the octagon. So I'm taking him here, minus 175. I think it's still a decent line. You could probably wait a little bit more to fight time because it seems like Mason Jones is a really popular pick, betting wise, and the line's kind of moving towards a pick 'em, but it's not really going to get there. But you'll get a better line if you wait it out towards before fight time because a lot of people seem to be betting on Jones in this spot, especially I think on Tapology, there's like 60, 65% or 70% taking Jones here. And like what I've said in previous times, if you've watched my shows, I don't like betting on fighters where majority of the public is on the dog. Why? We've seen it against Justin Tafa. 60% was on Justin Tafa in that fight against Felipe, and he lost. Majority of the time, when the public is on the underdog, it's not going to go well if the line is not moving and the line doesn't get back or doesn't flip into a pick 'em or a favorite. So I like to steer clear of betting on dogs where majority of the public is on the dog. So I'm taking Mike Davis here at minus 175. All right, next up in the bantamweight division, we have a fight between Jerome Rivera and Francisco Figueredo. Yes, that's Francisco Figueredo. That's the brother of Davison Figueredo, the 125-pound champion. So right now, Figueredo is a minus. I'm trying to find the line. Sorry, guys. Yeah, Figueredo is a minus 145 favorite in the comeback on Jerome. Rivera is a plus 120 underdog. All right. With Figueredo, he's been on the Brazilian regional scene, hasn't fought, really the best of competitions. He was the Jungle Fight bantamweight champion or interim bantamweight champion. He's obviously not as good as his brother. He's had 7 wins via submission, 3 wins via knockout. So he's coming in there and normally gets the job done inside the distance. So he's really a dangerous fighter, just like his brother. In comes Jerome Rivera, who arguably lost his Contender Series fight. I was lucky enough to squeak by with a decision win under Rivera in that fight, but he looked bad. And then the next fight, his UFC debut against Tyson definitely did not go his way, as he got blasted by a right hand and put down and eventually was finished. Jerome Rivera is just one of those tall, lanky fighters that has that tall stature, that, head up, chin up, and he just gets hit. He gets hit a lot. He gets countered a lot. Leg kicks his best bet is getting the fights in the mat anyway, which way are possible. Even though he's super tall, he's just not one of the best strikers. He's just very slick when it comes to grappling and getting things to the mat. But on the feet, I think he's going to be at a massive disadvantage here, even against Figueredo, who's still not a world beater, but I think you can give Rivera fits no matter who you are on the feet. He's just not a great striker. He's very hittable. And if I'm siding with someone, I'd probably take Figueredo here, just because I'm not sold on Rivera's game set. He has to take the fights in the mat. He has to get the fights in the mat in order for him to win a fight. He's not winning a striking battle with anybody. So I'm taking Figueredo here. It's not a fight I really want to bet on. Maybe I can a live bet this to see how Figueredo comes in his first fight in the UFC and go from there. But I'm definitely not looking to bet on this pre-fight. Next up, we have a fight in the light heavyweight division between Dalcha Lagmachia. I can't say it. We'll say Dalcha and Markus Perez. Right now, Dalcha is a minus 135 favorite, and Perez is a plus 115 underdog. Originally, I thought this fight was going to be at 185 pounds, but I guess since it's a short notice stature of a fight, they are fighting at 205, because Dalcha's last fight was supposed to be at 185, and then things fell through with COVID against Carl Robertson. Robertson had couldn't take the fight because of COVID. So here we are, Dalcha versus Markus Perez on short notice. Yes, Perez is taking this fight on short notice. I think 2 or 3 weeks notice. Up a weight class to 205, where he's going to be massively undersized. Dalcha's an absolute powerhouse fighter. He's built like a brick wall. He's got good judo, good wrestling. He's very powerful with his strikes. Perez on the other side, he's seen what he got from him. He's a karate style fighter. He's got some pretty good kicks. He leads with those kicks. He's good with his strikes. He's very good a submission fighter as well. We've seen that in his fight against Anthony Hernandez. But in this fight, moving up a weight class against such a powerful fighter in Dalcha, I don't think he's going to be able to overcome that. He's going to literally have to stick and move the entire fight and not get caught against the fence. I do think that the power and the strength of Dalcha is really going to possibly put Perez away. Perez is very, very hittable. We've seen that in his last fight. And he got finished. So I'm taking Dalcha here. I think he comes in and starches Perez and gives him another L on his record, and possibly there's a good chance he might give him his walking papers as well. So yeah, I'm taking Dalcha here, minus 135. I think we're getting a great line. The guy's been in like 2 fight camps already, so I think he's super ready to get in there and get a win under his belt finally. All right, next up we have a fight in the flyweight division between Mudaerji and Zarrukh Adashev. Right now, Mudaerji is a massive minus 420 favorite, and the comeback on Adashev is a plus 335 underdog. All right, so with Adashev, he has his first fight in the UFC. Did not go well as he got blasted by Tyson Nam as well within the first, I think, minute of the fight. So that didn't go as planned, and I kind of knew that was going to happen. You're talking about a guy that's only 3-4-0 coming into the UFC. He has a good kickboxing background, but kickboxing is an MMA. It's a completely different ball game, different speed of the fight as well, and it showed. He also came in overweight too, so that didn't help. Maybe we'll see a better Adashev coming in to this fight, but he's going against a very lethal striker in Mudaerji. He showed that against Malcolm Gordon in his last fight. Gordon did not want to get hit by him. He got one hit to the face and he turtled up. Literally one headshot, turtled up, and that was all she wrote. So Mudaerji is very, very good in striking. I don't see any type of grappling involved in this fight. So I think Mudaerji should win comfortably or possibly even put Adashev away in this fight. Minus 420, obviously a terrible line. But I think taking him inside the distance should cut it down to possibly on minus 200, or it's going to be some juice to it still because majority of the time, if Mudaerji wins, it's by KO. It's inside the distance. So, but I'm taking Mudaerji here. He's looking good. He's looking like a real up and up prospect in the 125-pound division. So, I'm looking forward to that fight. And yeah, I'm taking Mudaerji here. Next up, we have a fight in bantamweight division between Ricky Simón and Gaetano Pirrello. I'm terrible with these names, guys. But right now, Ricky is a good, sizable minus 380 favorite, and the comeback on Gaetano is a plus 315 underdog. So Ricky Simón was slated to fight Boom. I forgot his name, but I don't know. I was just drawing a blank, guys. But anyways, yeah, he was slated to fight someone else. And that fall through twice. He got COVID once the first time, and then his opponent got COVID the second time, so it got pushed off again. So here we are. He's taking a fight against a UFC debuter that's coming out of Spain that really no one knows much about. On short notice for him. He only took the fight on a week's notice, so I guess he's in shape, but this is a really hard debut fight for him, especially if you can't defend takedowns. Ricky Simón is he's so energetic. The dude he's got cardio for days. He can go a full 15 minutes. Yes, he's shown that he is hittable, but if you don't have that power to put him away, if you don't hit him in the right spot, he's going to get in around your legs. He's going to dump you at least 10 times. He's going to absolutely grind you out. He's going to throw heavy punches as well, in and out. His in and out movement has always been great. I've always been a huge fan of Ricky Simón. And I do think he takes this fight comfortably. Minus 380 is not a great line, obviously, but I think the decision prop is fair. I don't think Ricky Simón, majority of the time, other than that fight against Morozov Dvalishvili, he normally gets decisions, and that fight would have gone to decision if Morozov wasn't choked out, right before the bell. But I'm taking Ricky Simón comfortably in this fight. I'm going to comfortably take him by decision as well. He gets back on track with a win here. All right. Next up, we have a fight in the middleweight division between Omari Akhmedov and Tom Breese. I already broke this down on my last breakdown, but this fight got moved to January 20th. I think it was due to some COVID concerns. So here we are again. I'm sticking to my guns on this one as well. I'm still sticking with Tom Breese at minus 155 over Omari Akhmedov at plus 135. I think Tom Breese is obviously the much better striker of the two, and it boils down to if he can stay off the mat. If he can stay off the mat and make Akhmedov work for the takedowns, he should definitely be able to take this fight. Akhmedov definitely will start fading towards round 2, definitely round 3, and you could possibly get a good round 3 prop finish with Tom Breese. We've seen it in the Chris Weidman fight where he was wrestling the entire time. He was taking a lot out of him. Same thing happens here. Tom Breese should be able to defend the takedowns, get back up, make Omari Akhmedov work for it, and then eventually gas him out and just take over from there. I'm taking Tom Breese minus 155. That's a play I will be betting on. All right, next up, we have a fight in the 145-pound division between Lerone Murphy and Douglas Andrade. Right now, Murphy is a sizable minus 280 favorite, and the comeback on Andrade is a plus 245 underdog. I really like what we've seen from Murphy. He has looked really good thus far. He's 1-0-1 in his time in the UFC. He went to a draw with Tukhugov in his UFC debut in that fight where there was no AC, so he was grappling with Tukhugov. He dropped him in like the third round, I believe. He was down on the scorecards in the first 2 rounds just by Tukhugov just going in there and grappling with him, but he came back with a 10-8 round in round 3 and really surprised us all. Then he came back and won his next fight. I kind of forgot who it was, but yeah, I'm actually very confident in Murphy getting this win here over Andrade. Andrade is really, he's been around the block. He hasn't really done much. He hasn't really beaten anyone great. He hasn't shown me that he can really beat someone of Murphy's caliber. Murphy is the much better striker. He's actually the bigger fighter as well. I think he just absolutely dominates from bell to bell. Minus 280. Not the great line again. Most of these lines are not great for this card because most of these fights are lopsided, one-sided fights throughout this entire fight card. But it is what it is. This is a fight that I would kind of lay the chalk on. I wouldn't need to get a prop on here, but I would lay the chalk on Lerone Murphy at minus 280. I think that's still a good line. I think it should be an even higher of a favorite. All right, next up, we have a fight in the flyweight division between Tyson Nam and Matt Schnell. Right now, Nam is a minus 130 favorite, and the comeback on Matt Schnell is a plus 110 underdog. Man, I'm really liking Tyson Nam in this fight, primarily because I think he's the cleaner striker, more technically sound striker. He's definitely got the much more power between the two strikers. Schnell is pretty much going to have to stick and move this entire fight, stay on the outside, and make Nam pretty much hit and miss and work this entire fight. He's going to have to fight him just like Sergio Pettis did, just like Kai Kara-France did, and not stand in front of him. But it's easier said than done. Schnell also, majority of the time, wins his fights by submission, so he's going to have to want to try to get this fight to the mat. And, with that 100% takedown defense of Tyson Nam, I don't think that's really going to happen here. So in a striking battle, I would take Tyson Nam all day. I think he puts him away. We've seen Schnell get finished time and time again by strikes. He just got finished in his last fight by overhand right. And I see much of the same. I see another overhand right putting Schnell down and putting him out. So I'm taking Tyson Nam here. I think minus 130 is a good line. You talk about Tyson Nam's also fought the best of the best at 125 pounds on the regional scene as well as in the UFC. Yeah, I think we're getting a really good line here, minus 130. He's been more productive. He's been the more active fighter as well. So that really bodes well for him, and he's ready to go. And I'm taking Tyson Nam. I think he wins inside the distance. I think he blasts a right hand through Shell's skull and puts him out. All right. Next up, we have a fight in the women's flyweight division between Roxanne Modafferi and Viviane Araújo. Right now, Araújo is a minus 345 favorite, and the comeback on Roxanne is a plus 285 underdog. these are the prime spots where you want to bet on Roxy because she's shown she is, one of the pioneers of women's MMA. She's been fighting everywhere, anywhere. She's got like, I think, 30 or 40 plus fights. She's fought the best of the best. And she's super tough. She normally doesn't get finished. She doesn't have the greatest striking, but it's serviceable. She does a lot of in and out movements. She does get hit a lot, but she does it just to get inside, to be able to get against the cage and use her body lock takedowns. And once she gets to the mat, it's a tough game to get back up. She's normally like a blanket. She's able to stay heavy on her opponents and keep them down for the majority of the round, and just beat them up once on top. And then Vivian, she's all about striking. She's all about movement. She's all about her in and out movements. She's got really good striking. She's pretty strong for her own regards as well. But this is gonna be a test for Vivian to see how she fares against a really good grappler and Roxanne. So minus 345 favorite. I do not want to bet and guess and hope that she's able to defend the takedowns, but I kind of want to take a chance on Roxanne plus 285. I really do. I think it's a good play to just bet on the dog and hope she pulls through. We've seen time and time again that Roxanne is a good dog bet. She shows some of these young up-and-coming fighters that, there are levels to this. You do have to have an all-around skill set. You can't just be a one-dimensional striker. She's shown that against Macy Barber. She's shown that against Shevchenko's sister, Antonina. So yeah, I'm taking the dog here plus 285. I think we're getting a good line on the gritty Roxanne Modafferi. She's someone that will fight for your money, win or lose. She fights for your money, and that's the type of fighter I love to bet on. So I'm taking Roxanne Modafferi here plus 285. All right, next up we have a fight in the heavyweight division between Ike Villanueva and Vinicius Moreira. Right now, Ike Villanueva, his line is minus 140 favorite, and the comeback on Moreira is a plus 120 underdog. Low-level heavyweights, guys. If you watch my last breakdown, you would know I am not betting on low-level heavyweights. Just like I didn't bet on Justin Tafa or Carlos or Felipe as well. Didn't want to do anything with that. That was a super close fight. I could have picked a winner there. I think Justin Tafa won that fight, but it is what it is. This is another fight. I don't want to deal with either one of these two. I do not want to trust my money on either one of these two. These two guys should not be in the UFC. I think Moreira's coming off 2 or 3 losses back to back. Ike Villanueva hasn't won a fight either. He's the one that lost to Hollywood Ninja, Jordan Wright, which is never a good sign. So these are the two guys. This is an entirely pass situation here. If I'm going to give a side, if I want to pick a winner, I would probably go with Ike Villanueva just because he's shown that he's got a better striking regimen, and Moreira pretty much has to get the fight to the mat in order to win because majority of his wins are by submission. And I don't think his offensive grappling is good enough in order to get it to the mat. So yeah, I'm taking Villanueva here, but I am definitely not betting it. All right, next up in the welterweight division, we have a fight between Rory Alves and Munir Lazzez. Right now, Lazzez is a minus 225 favorite, and the comeback on Alves is a plus 185 underdog. All right, Alves was slated to fight on January 16th. I forgot who it was. Christian Aguilera is who he was originally slated to fight in his last fight on 16th. But unfortunately, he had to pull out. I don't know if it was due to COVID or due to some other injury here. But Yeah, he gets a much, much tougher opponent in Lizez. Lizez came in on his UFC debut and looked absolutely phenomenal against Al Hassan. He took everything Al Hassan was able to give to him. He took all the punches. He would withstand it all. It was crazy. And then to the point where Al Hassan obviously gassed out after that first round, and then Lizez just absolutely picked him apart. He was even able to take Al Hassan down too. So he showed his full regiment. And I think Lizez is going to take this one comfortably. On the feet, Alves pretty much has nothing for him, like at all. But the thing is, where Alves has really good submissions, really good guillotine chokes. So if Lizez thinks he's going to go in there and just take him down, kind of like Al Hassan did. So I don't think he should be able to do that. I don't think he should want to do that. I think he should want to keep this fight standing on the feet and really put a hurting on him on in the striking, because it will get hairy. It will get a little dangerous if he goes and tries to get it down to the mat. So yeah, I'm taking Lizez here, even on the line at minus 225. It got skyrocketed. I think it opened up at minus 160, and then everybody just kind of hammered the line as soon as it came out. So I kind of knew it was going to get up to a minus 225 favorite. But for a guy that's coming in on about a week or two's notice, getting a minus 225 price tag, the odds makers are really showing that they believe in Lizez here. So I'm taking Lizez at minus 225. All right, we're up to the main event of the evening in a fight at 170 pounds between Michael Chiesa and Neil Magny. Right now, Magny is a minus 140 favorite, and the comeback on Michael Chiesa is a plus 120 underdog. This is going to be a really good fight. It's a 5-round fight now after Chimaev and Edwards' fight was called off. So this is really going to be a back and forth battle between these two. Chiesa looks strong coming up to 170. He looks big. He looks like a perfect 170-pound fighter. His grappling is obviously top notch. He showed that against RDA. He just pretty much took him down at will and was controlling him throughout the entire fight. But where the problem lies is his striking. RDA was pretty much landing at will. He was chopping at that leg. He was landing pretty much everything on the feet. But, with RDA, he can't defend takedowns. So Chiesa was able to control it for majority of the fight and got the win. So, but yeah, he's 3-0 in the welterweight division. This is his division. This is the division that he should have been at from the get-go. He's looking fresh. He's looking strong, and he's looking good. And in comes Neil Magny, he's been looking phenomenal as well, beating the likes of Jing Liang, Rocco Martin, just stifling them. And the dude has cardio for days. The dude could go 25 minutes, absolutely no problem, especially training over at Elevation. He also trains with much better training partner. He's been in multiple fight camps already for training for. He's been training with Kamaru Usman. He's been training with Justin Gaethje, Curtis Blades, Overeem. All those guys have had fights, and he's been helping them get ready for them. So he's pretty much been in a ton of fight camps with them. So he should be tip-top shape coming into this fight. And he trains, like I said, trains with a bunch of great wrestlers, great grapplers. So giving that background and that camp behind him, I think it's going to bode well going against a grappler, Michael Chiesa. I'm kind of fairly confident in Neil Magny's abilities to, yes, he might get taken down in the first 1 or 2 rounds. He might lose 1 or 2 rounds, but he's going to pick up the pace in rounds 3, 4, and 5. Chiesa cannot grapple for 5 rounds against Magny and keep him there. He's going to have to get him out of there. He's going to have to submit him in order to really beat him in this fight. But I think Magny's going to get a takeover in rounds 3 to 5 and really put a hurting on Chiesa and show that he really is in the top of the heap in 170 pounds, especially after that Santiago Ponzinibbio loss. He's just came back with a fucking vengeance, and he's looking really, really good. And I've been very, very impressed. So I'm very strongly on Magny here, and I'm going to bet him pre-fight, but I'm also going to bet him live probably after round 1. He might drop the first round, just mainly because of, grappling exchanges with Chiesa. He might just, lose that first round. And we might even get a plus money on him live betting after round 1. So, yeah, I am definitely big on Neil Magny here, big time. And I think he's going to pull through and surge up the rankings in the 170-pound. And with us, our special guest on this week's breakdown, Christian Ynastrilla. What's up, man? How's it going? Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, no, not much, brother. Anytime. I appreciate you having me on. And just been training and things like that. The same old, just trying to get better every day. There's nothing to do outside of that. Quarantine not really allowing us to have a lot of new things with this whole COVID stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Like I said, I've been following you forever. How are things going? I know things happened in your last fight that you weren't expecting. What were you kind of taken away from that fight?
There was a lot of things that I felt like I was doing wrong with that fight. I had a set opponent that I was very motivated to kind of face, like fight better, and I had a lot of fights, and he ended up pulling out. I had a lot of opponent changes, and then I ended up getting the opponent that I got. I kind of went in there I didn't feel like I was gonna fight. I don't know. I just wasn't motivated. I think I had a lot of opponent changes and things like that. I think I didn't go in there with the right mindset, and also just technically there was certain things I was doing that I shouldn't have been doing. And it's just, I think it's also been a little hard for me because since my main gym closed, the American Top Team Miramar, that's where I got a lot of my main coaching. And a lot of these last 2 fights, my coaching's been a little scattered. I haven't had it as set up as I normally do. But I think, these 2 losses were maybe a blessing for me because now, I sat down with my main coaches, and I think this past month we've had a very good schedule, and I feel like I've been getting everything down in order as opposed to me kind of being my own coach. That doesn't really make much sense in this game. And I feel like it's, just learning lessons and just trying to have my coaches around more now and just training more of my training partners. I think that I feel like I've made a lot of gains in this past month, and I look forward to keep making more gains until probably about the summertime that I fight again.
Sweet, man. I'm looking forward to your next fight, whenever it is, whether it's in the first half or of 2021 or the second half. It doesn't really matter. I'm just looking forward to you getting back in there. As far as progressing in your fight game, how is it going after a few setbacks? What are you working on to to improve your game and get yourself to the next level, which I know I've been following you for a while that you're capable of?
Yeah, I definitely believe I have the skill level to do it. I think it's just something of getting that comfort level to be able to do it in my fights and things like that. But as far as progressing, I think just everywhere. I think one of the biggest things is sometimes I approach these fights and I think of just doing one thing as opposed to using all my skills in one fight. Like I'll think of just using the striking or just using the wrestling as opposed to just using everything. And I have all the tools to use everything. I can grapple, I can wrestle, I can strike. And I think that's been just the main thing with my coaches, just making sure that everything is more like an MMA practice as opposed to just like a striking practice or just like a grappling practice or just like a wrestling practice. Like, for example, like the wrestling, doing more like MMA wrestling, like setting up the takedowns to strike. Just things like that. Just trying to make it a lot more MMA related. That's probably what I'd say I'm trying to progress the most.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, like I said, I've talked to you time and time again, and I've said that you have the skill set to get to that next level. And we've talked off air about this. And as far as like 125 pounders go, I think you are one of the better 125 pound prospects outside of the UFC. I would love for you to just stay at 125 pounds.
Oh, 100%.
Screw all these guys that can't make the 125 pound mark and miss it all the time because they're screwing you out of your potential, career in the UFC. If that, opportunity presents itself again, as far as, just getting just getting anybody, because, sometimes, during this COVID situation, I know it's super hard to get fights because a lot of these guys don't really want to travel and get fights and not getting paid enough. Are you going to stick to your guns and stay at the 125-pound mark, or are you possibly just going to take whatever, Titan or any of these regional promotions give you?
No, I definitely want to stick to 125. I think that was probably another mistake that I made, because the opponent I got was probably like a week before the fight, and we had asked for a 130-pound catch weight, and then he declined that, and he asked for like 132, 133 pounds. It's probably a very strange catch weight to ask for in the beginning. And something looking back on, I know definitely on fight night he was probably about like 150 something pounds easy. So he was definitely. Man, I was getting ready to make my cut to 125 pounds. Granted, I had the same opponent leading up. It was going to be a flyweight fight the entire time. So if I would fight one of these guys at catchweight, I would like to have it the whole camp, so I kind of know and I could make my body prepared for that and not cut any weight at the end, and then I'm giving up like 20, 25 pounds to another guy. Doesn't really make much sense. But definitely, doing things a smarter way, so it's just, I can showcase my skill set to the best of my ability.
No, I totally get you. I mean, like when I was there live, I was rooting you on. I was so stoked for you to get in there. But like when I saw you and him, I'm like, this. I mean, you're taller than him. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, the dude looked like he had like a good 20 pounds on you. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, what the fuck, man? I mean, like, because I mean, like I said, you're a 125 pounder, and the reason why he took that fight as a catchweight is because he knew he can't make 125. That dude can never make 125 no matter what. That dude is a 135er or 130-pound fighter. He will never, ever be able to make that 125-pound mark. And I know you are one of the better 125-pounders out there. And I'm just hoping, I want you to get in there as soon as possible. How are you? What's your outlook looking for 2021? Are we seeing possibly a first quarter 2021 from you, a first half, a second half? What is the outlook looking for you for this year?
I would definitely say there's a lot of things now that I feel like I'm fixing as far as like in my training, and I feel like I'm making a lot of gains now, and I really want to focus on improving my skill set so the next time that I fight, I have a completely different type of game plan and style and things like that. I just want to improve a lot. So I would definitely say you could probably expect to see me in June. I would think that's probably the most realistic time. But after that, I want to be active. I really want to. I always have a goal for myself to get 3 or 4 fights a year. So even if I do have my first fight of the year in June, I'm looking to, I'm looking to have a quick turnaround and then definitely have 3 or 4 fights this year. So definitely right now, I just want to train and keep getting better. But I'm definitely gonna fight in June, and that's definitely what I'm looking at.
Well, that's great because, like I said, I've been. I really want you to see. I want to see you in there as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing that you are taking the time to get better and grow as a fighter, and and overlook of what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Because a lot of these fighters are like, yeah, they'll take a loss, but they don't grow from it. And a lot of these dudes, they'll just get right back in there because they want to fight. But on your other hand, you're looking at this from overall perspective, and that you may need to progress on a few things, and that's great. And I'm glad that you see that. I'm glad your coaches are helping you get there, and I'm glad we're going to see you very, very soon this year, even if it's in June. And I want to see much, much more of you. But yeah, I want to get into the breakdown for this Wednesday's card. Yes, we have an early fight card on Wednesday, 9 a.m. But
9 a.m.
9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. No, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. So what I like to do is, this is a segment I like to call Rapid Fire Picks, where I will just ramble off matchups, and you just tell me win or lose, who you think is going to win, who you think is going to lose. And then once we get to the main event, you can give me an explanation as to why you're picking whoever you're picking on that.
Okay.
So the first fight, it's not going to be the first fight on the card, but it is the first fight that I have on bestfightodds.com, is a fight at 135 pounds between Umar Nurmagomedov and Sergey Morozov. And yeah, who do you got in that one?
I got Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, I kind of figured you would, as do I. So, all right, next up, we have a middleweight fight between Omari Akhmedov and Tom Breese.
I'm a big Tom Breese fan, so I got Tom Breese.
All right, I like it. And then in women's flyweight division, we have a fight between Manon Fiorot, I forgot, I can't really pronounce her last name, and Victoria Leonardo.
I think I'm gonna take Manon on this one.
Manon, like it. All right, next up, we have Mike Davis taking on Mason Jones.
This one's gonna be a banger card from the previous, but I'm gonna go with Mike Davis.
Yes, I'm actually extremely looking forward to that fight. Been a fan of both of them. I've interviewed Mike Davis, and I've been a fan of Mason Jones on the Cage Warrior side. So looking forward to that. But yeah, I got Mike Davis as well. Next up, we have a fight between Francisco Figueredo and Jerome Rivera.
I saw Jerome Rivera being like a finisher, and I think I'm gonna go with Figueredo on this one.
All right, I like it. Next up, we have a fight between Dalcha. I'm going to go with Dalcha because I can't say his last name, and Markus Perez.
I'll go with Markus Perez.
Perez. All right. Next up, we have a fight at 125 pounds between Mudaerji and Zarrukh Akashev.
Sue, I was very impressed with the last time, so I'm going to go with him on this matchup.
All right, I like it. Next up, we have a fight at 135 pounds between Ricky Simone and Gaetano Pirrello.
Ricky Simone.
Nice. Next up, in the flyweight division, we have a fight between Schnell and Tyson Nam.
I'm going to go with Schnell.
All right. Next up, we have a fight at a featherweight division between Lerone Murphy and Douglas Silva de Andrade.
I'm going to go with
Douglas. All right. Next up, we have a fight between Roxanne Modafferi and Viviane Araújo.
I'm going to go with Viviane.
All right. Next up, we have a fight in the heavyweight division, I think, between Ike Villanueva and Vinicius Merero.
I'm going to take Vinicius.
All right. Next up in the co-main event, we have a fight between Munir Lazez and Worley Alves.
I'm going to go with Lazez. I was very impressed with him last time, so I'm going to take Lazez on this.
I like that. I like it. All right, so we're finally up to the main event. This is the fight where I kind of want you to give me your explanation as to why you're giving who you're giving out. We have a fight between Michael Chiesa and Neil Magny. Who you got?
For me, this was like a tough fight because when I looked at it on paper, I thought it would go like 50-50 when I first thought about it. I thought, either be Chiesa like kind of wrestling or making it dirty for 5 rounds, or I thought, Magny could start stuffing the takedown in the later rounds and start kind of picking them apart on the feet. I think he's a much superior striker. But if I have to really lean and pick, I think I'm going to go with Magny. I think Chiesa, he looked good his last fight against RDA, but I really feel like Magny coming into his own, and I don't see Chiesa being able to take him down for 5 rounds and hold him down. And I think at any point that this fight is on the feet, I think it's going to favor Magny, especially with the body, with the pressure. And I could probably see Magny, especially he throws up a lot of submission attempts off his back and things like that. Like I remember even in the Hendricks fight, he threw up a lot of triangles and things like that. So I think I'm going to take Magny probably with like a 4th or 5th round finish.
I like it. Actually, I'm very impressed with that because that's exactly how I see it happening as well. Yeah. Very much because I feel Magny could probably lose the first 1 or 2 rounds, but we have yet to see Chiesa go a full 25 minutes at 170 pounds. And we don't know. And we've seen him kind of start to slow down in that RDA fight when he was grappling heavy. He only landed I think 9 strikes in that fight. So if it gets to the point where Chiesa has to prolong being on the feet, he's going to be in a world of trouble against someone like Neil Magny. So yeah, thank you so much, and I appreciate all your breakdown here. And it's going to be definitely a good fight card come Wednesday. 9 a.m. I am hopefully working from home that day, so I can get some bets in and make some money and enjoy my Wednesday morning fight card. But like I said, thank you so much for coming on this podcast and show with us, breaking down this card. And we hope to see you fighting very, very soon. And before we go, if you want to shout out your social media pages and anything else before we go, the floor is yours.
If you guys want to give me a follow, you can check me out on Instagram. My Instagram is Christian with a CH_Y28. And then on Facebook, I always say this, my last name is a tongue twister. I feel like it's pretty complicated. But, my name on Facebook is Christian Ynastrilla, and then my last name is YNASTRILLA. And other than that, I just want to give a shout out to one of my longtime sponsors, and then one of my sponsors is probably my second profile. I really appreciate him. Is Chiro Fit Pies. So if you guys need a good chiropractor and you're in the Pembroke Pines area, I definitely recommend you can check him out on Instagram and you can get all the info on that. It's Chiro Fit Pies. And other than that, I want to give you a big shout out, Magny. You've been, someone that's really looked up to, especially the way you do the bets. And I can really tell you're someone that really understands the game and stuff like that. And you giving me your support means a lot to me. So thank you, brother.
No, every time, man. Like I said, I've been following you forever. I will follow you till you're done with this sport. And I give you my utmost support forever. Anytime you need a platform to come on here, just shout anything out, just to talk fights, I'm with it. Whenever your next fight is, I will be there, and I will always support you, man. So like I said, I appreciate you so much for coming on and always coming on and giving my shows support. So thank you so much, and we will talk to you soon, and hopefully see you in there very, very soon. You.